You get paid in a selfish capacity because you ultimately do two things. Number one, you get paid based on the performance that you bring to the table, but you also get paid based on what you do for the company. So in order for you to get what you want, you also have to get the business what they want, because you ultimately grow within an organization. But that doesn't mean that you are their organizations. You are your own organization grown within an organization. And that's really, really important, because if you want to get into a position where you can go from offer to offer, success to success, you got to be able to attack it like it's your own. Because if you don't, then you are just commoditizing yourself. Now that also has, as you guys know what I say all the time, the spider web aspect, where it splits off into different aspects of things. That's also marketing, the fulfillment, the coaching, the outreach, the inbound, everything is all wrapped up in that. If you don't ever want to put yourself in a position when the marketing is hot, you're hot, and when it's cold, you're cold. How many of you have been in that position where when it's hot, you're making a lot of money, and when it's cold, you make fuck all? You go from making 15 grand a month to 4. You're like, oh shit. And then you look external, you look outward and you say, but the leads are done, the leads are drived up. X, Y, and Z is the problem. When you ultimately do your own outbound, you build your own network, you build your own marketing system within a marketing system, guess what then? You're the guy that dropped down from 15 to 12, where everyone has gone from 15 to 4. Because you did the work and you ultimately had what they didn't have. So that's important, and hopefully you guys can take that away and look at your own offers and businesses, whatever you're doing, and saying, how can I do this myself? How can I take back control of this myself? Because if I can take back control of this, then I'm not, what? Dependent. That's really, really important. Because if you want to be in a position where you do get partnerships, or you do get added commissions, or you do get, I suppose, special treatment, you got to bring more to the table than just fucking closing deals. That's the reality. Because if it's just about closing deals, there's 25 of you here. There's not a whole lot between the top guy and the bottom guy here. Probably 20%, 30% if you're lucky. It's not a lot. So you got to look at it in a different capacity. Now, in regards to Gianni, which I'm happy most of you have took a lot away out of, and a load of you have highlighted it today. Gianni is a massive part of my business. You don't get to see him because he's in the background turning the wheel. And if you want to produce and you want to be really, really good, you look at all the great people. You look at all the great performers, all the great, I suppose, sports people. You look at all of the people that have got to some element of the top or pushed on and tried to get there. They all did the extra work. What I mean by that is you look at someone like, I don't know, LeBron James or Tiger Woods or whoever. I don't really give a shit. Pick somebody. You look at what they have external to what they have in work. You look at what they're doing on a daily basis. Dietitians, physios, fucking psychiatrists, personal trainers, specific coaches. It all feeds the weapon. It all feeds the engine. So I would implore you guys to have a look at what you're doing and how do you make yourself better. The performance aspect of the sales is really, really important, but also the performance aspect of your body. How you think, how you operate, how you move, how you talk, how you walk. All that's really, really important. Someone said to me yesterday, how are you so confident standing up in front of all these people? Because you do the internal work. You do the internal work, which ultimately means that you can do what we do. And that's the key. So what I want to do today is I want to go through the entire framework. Does anybody have any questions based on what we went through yesterday? We're going to get into it.
When you say do more, like marketing stuff, what do you mean like specifically? Like posting your own content, generating your own leads?
Yeah, so what I would be doing if I was on your offer, I would be doing two things. Number one, I would build my own page. So I would have proof of concept.
Instagram?
Yeah. But I would also actually build my own YouTube page.
Yeah.
And I would actually live and breathe it. There's not more, I suppose, confident than a person that understands and a person that does. Like for me, how have I got so confident knowing that I can produce in terms of sales? Because I fucking did it. So if you guys are fucking selling a YouTube channel or you're selling an Amazon offer, the only way I would get conviction on that is what? The only way you can say to somebody at the end of a call who's fearful, here's my channel, here's how much it pays me, here's my login details. But it's important because if you want to be able to make a lot of money, guys, you also have to walk and talk in everything. Now, not to say that you want to go and fucking, create your own junk removal company. But like if there's things that we're selling or whatever that you believe in and you trust in and that, feel is going to help a lot of people, there's no more conviction than actually showing it yourself, in my opinion. So people are always like, do you do this? And I'm like, well, we just done it and you just giving me your credit card, so yeah. Do you know what I mean? Well, here you go, Sherlock Holmes. It's already done. You're like Gianni yesterday was like, where's my card? So that's what I would do firstly. Second thing I would do if I were you guys is I would be asking my business owner to Start a podcast, or a weekly call, or a weekly live. You know what I mean? What better way to get yourself in your own network than actually... What? Yeah, all of that is exactly what we want, okay? See it, feel it, taste it, understand it, want it. But the biggest thing, guys, because without the belief and without that person knowing that they can have, guess what they're not doing?
Taking any action.
Taking any action. They're not doing that. So you got to make sure. They got to make sure that they believe it. Because if they don't believe it, I guarantee you, you're going to have a fucking battle. So these are really, really important. Now, if you do these properly, guys, they do it themselves. If you do it properly, guys, you ask the right questions, they'll fucking do it themselves. You can actually see the change in their face, their body language, how they respond, they're smiling, their faces brightening up, whatever it may be. You'll actually see it. And you'll actually ask a question and you can see their brain going to where they want to feel it. Can I ask, when you buy that car, you know, that dream car that you want to buy, Nick, like, what's it going to do for you?
It'd be great.
Great, what do you mean?
I'd be like driving around in a fucking Lamborghini, it'd be pretty cool.
Shit. So you can see Nikki is starting to warm up to the idea of actually getting into Lamborghini, a big yellow fucking thing, driving around like a loser.
Ouch. But I believe it's possible.
He's like, oh my God, look at me. Bicep out the window, just tensed up.
How would you address them if they catch you on that? Like, I've had some people that are known in sales, like, hey, I see what you're doing, man. Like, someone says, like, hey, I see what you're doing, or like, you're trying to, like,
What am I doing?
call you out on, like, pulling them through this future phase.
Yeah, it's great that you understand what we're doing, but unless you actually want to get there and want to actually experience it, then it's all a waste of time anyway. You always get people that are, oh, I see what you're doing here. You do. You're like, cool. Right? Okay, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to do it differently? Like, what do you want? So I always laugh at those people. I was like, cool, great, wonderful. Yeah, you've done enough calls, good for you. You're still not where you want to be, so there's obviously something there. If you just did what you were supposed to do on the first call, you wouldn't be in this place. With all due respect. Okay, so we got to make sure we believe, because if it's not, then we're in trouble, okay? Because if it doesn't, we won't land, and it won't create the need or the emotion response to actually create the urgency that makes the change, okay? If you do not get that, guys, you are a duck out of water. So, how do we actually do that? How do we get these people out of their own way? So when we or I get you to X, can you walk and talk me through what that actually looks like in terms of how your life is going to be potentially different? That's a question. Or we could simplify it. When you make 10 grand, can you just walk and talk me through what that actually means? When you make, or let's do the emotion. When you have that lack of stress in your life, what does it actually mean though? So if you ask the question, if we just got the money will ultimately go to where? Logic, but where else will it go? When I get you to 10 grand in your life, what is that going to allow you to have? Time, money. And those spider webs are going to go into that. So what are you going to do with your time? Well, I'm going to bring my kid to fucking school every day. Or like me, I'm going to bring my little girl out for breakfast every morning. Years ago, when I had a little girl, but my big girl, I couldn't do that. So that means my relationship with my little girl, who's 3, is massive compared to the first one. So the money ultimately has an emotion, and that emotion ultimately, not go over here because now I'm in the spider web, a feeling. So the money has the emotion swings all the way back down to a feeling, or a change, or an experience. Because who here just wants to have money in the bank? Who here wants to use the money in the bank? Who here wants to have experiences from the money in the bank? Who here wants to have feelings from the experiences from the money that was in the bank? Yeah? See how it all works? I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. It took me years to understand it, but once you understand it, guys, you're in the right place.
How would you look people that just go like, yeah, I wouldn't change my life, like I'm really frugal, I just would keep building stuff, I would keep investing.
Well, I'm frugal. I'm the most frugal person in this room. But the frugal aspect of it gives me security. Why do I want security? Because I don't want to feel like a fucking loser. I don't want to feel like I can't protect my kids. I don't want to feel if World War III breaks out that I can't feed anybody. So everything has an emotion. No matter any, like if someone says to you, oh, I'm making 20 grand a month, me getting to 40 grand a month does virtually nothing. Don't do it then. Because every action that we have and every action that we do, we ultimately want something back. Who here wants to do something and not get anything back? Who here wants an exchange of value? Everybody does. You pay me, I train you. I train you, you pay me. That's how it works. If you want fucking to give and not get anything back, go fucking work in a charity. Or do that as well, I don't give a fuck. But even if you do that, guys, you still have to pay your life. So this is why this is important, you exchange the value. You take ownership of where you are right now, how about that? Take ownership of the words, the strong words that we want to use, because if you don't, you're not leading, you're not helping. You're just asking questions like everyone else. When we potentially get you to 10K, how is that potentially going to change your life and potentially get you into the right Lamborghini? And you're like, what do you want about? So when you ask questions, guys, stand tall, open up your fucking chest, pull up your shoulders, tuck your chin up. Everyone's like, which chin? I'm like, this chin, this chin, and stand tall and ask proper questions. You know, and actually stand up and have some confidence in how you present. So I don't want to see this, where we get to, like stand up, stand tall, yeah, and fucking talk out. Because that's what you're doing. You're helping make change. So when you ask a question, when you say the logical question is, when I get you to 10 grand a month, what's that going to help you do? This is what you're going to get. So when you ask the top line question, which is obviously money, you're going to get the emotion. That's typically what happens. Am I right or am I complete full of shit? That is typically what's going to happen. When I get to 10K, that's going to be great. You know, great things are going to happen. You know, this will make me so happy. You know, I'll be able to relax so much more. I'm going to have less stress. You know, that'll be a godsend. What else do we get? This is important. So you'll get a buzzword. Buzzword is going to be here. It's going to be, that will be great. Happy, stress, godsend. They're all buzzwords. Okay? Now, when you get a buzzword, which is ultimately now, spiderweb has to come back in. Where do we need to go? You've got to go deeper. You've got to understand what it is. Because the sooner you go deeper, guys, the sooner you clarify things and the sooner you understand what it is, what's going to happen is you're going to get this. Okay? Because this right here is not going to come out if you just get the surface level. And this is the surface. Because it means absolutely jack shit. It means nothing. That'll be great when that happens. Oh, that's going to make me so happy. I'm going to be so much relaxed. You know, I'm not going to be stressed anymore and go to bed at 1 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock. Oh, it's going to be a godsend. Buzzwords, okay. Standardized answers. How do I know it's a standardized answer?
The answer quick.
Spot on, Jake. They answer quick. Someone says to you, hey, how you doing? I'm good. Before they even finish the question, you've already answered. Hey, how you doing? I'm good. They're like, what? Where was that? When someone asks you a question and you just automatically respond, and you have to have no thinking done, that's a question, and that's a standardized answer. Which means it means fuck all. Or you're going to go home and you're going to like say, look at your wife and be like, ask a really deep question. She gives you a standardized answer. You're like, fuck you. I know what you're doing. So you got to go deep. You got to go underneath it, because once you go underneath it, guys, you get to that feeling, you get to that emotion, you get to the belief, because that's what you need to make the change. Okay, so explore the buzzwords, because the buzzwords ultimately go to the spiderweb. That's how we split this up. When you say great, can you just elaborate a little bit more on that for me, please? What did you mean by relax the stress? That's where you probe and that's where you clarify. I don't want to probe and clarify everything. What you only want to probe and clarify is what?
Emotion.
No, the emotion is what you're going to get out of it.
Standardized answers.
The buzzwords, yeah. You got to probe and clarify the buzzwords. Like achieving X, Y, and Z income is great and it will be awesome in relation to your life. But ultimately, what's going to change for you personally? If the person is forthcoming, then you may not have to over-deliver the questions. Have any of you ever been in a position where you kind of have to do more work? Yeah, you're like 70 and they're like 30. You have to like pull them through the words, pull them through the fucking conversation. That's what I mean by that, where you pull people forward. So if they are forthcoming, you don't have to over-ask the question. It's really important. It's probably the most important aspect of things, because if you do it properly and you can hold your own, you can make things work, okay? So, before we do that, does anyone have any questions on objections? Great, everyone's like fucking zonkied now.
Actually, yeah. Do you ever pre-handle, like, unless something comes up, like unless you identify a red flag, would you ever like say the guys in the Airbnb offer, they're always getting partner objections.
Yeah.
Would you specifically put a question in your script early on
Yeah.
to pre-handle that?
I would. If it's a constant objection that I get, I would want to be getting ahead of it. Because there's nothing worse than waiting until you get it and then you're like, oh fucking hell. A simple question would be, okay, and in terms of this business, is this solo opportunity, or are you going to have a partner in this, maybe potentially your wife, or how do you perceive this to move ahead? Some sort of frame like that. In order to get yourself to 20k a month just in property, is this just for yourself, or you potentially have a partner as well, or how does that work out? Because I want to make sure that that 20k is going to be yours. It's a soft way of doing it, isn't it? Well, no, actually, we're going to have 50-50. My cousin is going to do it as well, and he's going to make 10. Okay, now I got to, okay, where's cousin? Cousin. All right, big five. Very, very easy, very simple, guys. 2 smoke screens, 3 objections. That's it. 2 smoke screens, 3 objections. That's all it is.
Did you say time once?
Time is there, yeah, you're right. But time is kind of logistics more so than anything. Time is just logistics wrapped up. Does anybody get any other objections other than those?
Well, I have to also be a smoke screen too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, think about it, right?
Just think about it.
Need time to think about it.
Anybody get anything other than those?
Oh, looking at other companies,
Where does that come from?
upstream. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Typical French cunts. Look at them late. The Frenchies. Come on, boys. Okay, anyone get anything other than these? No? Yeah. Think about it. Partner. Both smoke screens. Fear, money, or logistics. Those are your 3. That's where it'll always go. Yeah. Time is more a logistics thing. What's that?
Could it be fear, like uncertainty?
Mm.
Just like, for example, the other day, someone doing like studying for an exam or whatever, and it's like a couple of months, and they tried to do the positive, but I felt that that wasn't actually logistics.
Yeah, the objection can be wrapped up in a smokescreen, which can be any of these, but ultimately take your event or your test out of it. You still want to get to X, Y, and Z? Yes. Why? So let's say that your test didn't happen. Would you still move forward? Would you still want to achieve the goal? So like what the barrier is isn't actually the barrier. You know what I'm saying?
You still go into, let's just say that, you know, you done the exam, still got a good feeling about this is something, but what happens then? Is it something you still want to move forward with?
Yeah, talk to me about that after that. Do you still want to move forward? Are you still going to do it? Do you still want to achieve it?
So you want to go for there, just work out actually if it is a legitimate logistic or if it's something else.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a partner. Yeah, like take your partner and just put it over there for a second. Take your test and put it over there for a second. Here's the fucking truth. If you can't objection handle, guys, you shouldn't be in my room, but you also shouldn't be in sales. Because if you can't do it, guys, it's the difference between doing that. And someone's going to say, yeah, but I make 10k a month and I can't objection handle. Yeah, good for you. Great, wonderful. You're on a great offer. Wonderful, but it's not going to last. And then you go down here at least. This will end up being your North Star. That will end up being your ceiling. Because you can't do this. Who here couldn't objection handle before they came in here? Not this room, but like just in general into my space. I don't know why no one, like, you all should have your fucking hands up. You too, Luke. Put up your hand. Everyone put up their hand? Me too? Yeah?
Not as good as I could.
Yeah, but like that just means I can make dinner, but not as good as fucking Gordon Ramsay. That's like... Okay, so that is the difference, guys. That ultimately allowed me to grow. It allowed, obviously, me to push on. Because if you can objection handle, you can catch the ball. That's just how it goes. If you can objection handle, you're a great goalkeeper. It means your team has a chance of winning more days than not. Okay? Okay, so in terms of your offers, guys, you should all be looking at the objections that keep coming up, and that's probably what you said. Like, it's about pre-handling things and stuff like that. You should all be looking at your offer, and you should all know the top 1 to 2 objections that you get. Would that be fair to say? And I don't mean like build a fucking brilliant spreadsheet with all different colors and shit like that. I mean just like 10 calls, more often than not, I'll get to think about it. And then I got to go upstream and I'm going to be like, okay, well, like if I continuously get to think about it, I got to double down on the urgency. If I continue to get a partner objection, I got to double down into ideal lifestyle. If I continuously get a fear, then where do I need to double down? The consequence of inaction. So all the objections, if you think about it, guys, ultimately get wiped away if we do the right thing first. Someone says, I just want to think about it and I want to just go away and try it on my own. Where does that come from? Comes from the North Star. It comes from not getting out of the idea of, with what you're currently doing now, do you feel that it can get you there? You kind of have to make some small changes. You won't get to think about it if you do that. But you also won't get a, let me just go away and try this on my own. Going away and trying this on his own is going to guarantee you what you already have, which is absolutely wank. So why would you want it wank? Yeah? So all the objections, if you think about it and you just break down the whole framework, get rid of them all, yeah? A partner objection, where does the partner one come from? Which is a smoke screen, typically. But it ultimately comes from not having enough urgency, not having a line in the sand, and not having that responsibility. Because if I am responsible, who do I blame? Who stops me if I take ownership of my problem? So, bye-bye. If I have fear, where do you think you would want to get rid of that? What is the fear? The fear is obviously, if I do this, will I or won't I get there? That comes from urgency. It comes from line in the sand. It comes from obviously making that change, taking ownership. Money is just money. Money is easy. Why? Because if I've constantly got confirmation that what I do is going to work, then what's left? It's just the logistics of how the money works, like I did with Gianni yesterday. You got to go after what it is. You got to go after commitment first, and then they will just fall into play. Money and logistics. Okay?
Question on that fear thing. So basically, just when we're doubling down in consequence of inaction, now they're essentially getting more afraid of what will happen if they make no changes. So that's what kind of wipes away the fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know the secret? I didn't hear anything you said. I just agreed with you. I didn't even know what he said. I was reading what I just wrote, and I was like, I didn't even know what he said. But I just said yes. But there you go. I just said yes, and I liked you. So there you go. Happy days. Okay. Here's the other side, guys. I'm in that zone now. I'm like, okay, my coaching hat is off. I'm like here to make fun. Okay. If you are looking for offers where you don't get objections, guys, like best of luck, because they're not going to last. I know one guy was on a crypto offer when crypto could be sold by fucking babies and monkeys. He was like, I'm the best closer in the entire world. Put him on a different offer and absolutely tanked. He was like, yeah, but I was making 90K selling crypto. I was like, yeah, I could have done that in Russian. Doesn't mean you're good. But also, like, when you go into offers, guys, I would be excited to get the objections. You're like, no. Because you get to flex, then you get to see, okay, well, like, now this is the challenge. Now I get to fucking go to war. Now I actually get to go and actually earn my income. Who here wants to earn their income? Who here would dig a hole for their income? What's wrong with earning that? So it's about how do I make the fucking thing as simple and as easy as I possibly can. How all you guys make your sales easy and simple is how. I know you're all after eating and stuff like that, but I don't want to just talk for the next 2 hours on my own. So how do you make your job easy? Train? Yeah? You understand the process, you have a system, you believe in yourself, you believe in what you're doing, and you mitigate the risk. The risk is that you do everything and you still don't make a sale. That's the risk. Okay? So this is kind of actually what Shoni was talking about yesterday, which was quite funny. If you are on offers where you are getting fuck all objections, and you're on an offer where this is the best thing since sliced bread, i.e. crypto, when crypto was just booming, we're going to the moon, Billy lost a bag of fucking jewels, everyone could sell it. You know, everyone could sell it, but you got a timestamp on those ones. Shani said it's anywhere between 3 to 6 months. I said 6 months to be kind, but it could all fall apart. And then what? Then what are you going to have? Nothing, only yesterday's results. Yeah, but I was that guy. Yeah, but now you're fat and ugly. So what? You know what I mean? I used to make this. Yeah, great. I used to have a six-pack. Yeah. So don't be that guy. Don't be that person that says, I was on this great offer one time and made all this money. Because you don't get paid on yesterday's performance. When building hooks, analogies, objection handling, frames, whatever it may be, guys, the most important thing that you have is that you don't overcomplicate it. I've heard people do analogies and you're like, where are you going with this? Where does this even make sense? On what fucking planet is this even logical? So very easily, you got to make it, relatable. It's got to be easily consumed, and if you complicate it, you're going to lose people. This is a tip I've always thought about. Don't try and get your prospects to think and understand what you want them to understand. What do I mean by that?
Go into their world.
Correct. If I got to educate them on what I'm trying to say to them, guess what they're not doing? They're not listening or they're not understanding what I'm trying to do, which ultimately means that they're missing what I'm fucking saying. Because if I'm trying to educate them, they're not learning and they're not understanding my thought process. So, example, if you like fishing and your prospect doesn't like fishing, do not fucking make anything relative to fishing. How would we know? Because you use the information of what that person has told you on the call. If they live in Miami, guess where I'm going to talk about? I'm not going to talk about Wisconsin to them. Do you know what I mean? If they talk about, what I want to do when I get to that ideal lifestyle is I'm going to fucking drive dumper trucks or whatever, guess what we're not going to do? Talk about go-karting. Like, Make the fucking shit relative, guys, because if you don't, you're going to lose them. If they don't understand what you're saying and they have to overcompensate and educate themselves on what you're even trying to say, okay, they can't associate themselves with the journey, which puts them in a position where they cannot relate, which means then they're not going to listen and they're not going to learn and they're not going to understand or want to understand. Make it so fucking simple that everybody does it on a daily basis. So stay with general things, because if you don't stay with general things, it goes back to the complication. And believe me when I tell you, who buys when they're complicated and when they don't understand? Nobody. Nobody understands. So, exercise for you right now. Write down the top 20 things you can relate to right now that most people can also too. Pen and paper. Back to school, write down top 20 things, okay? I've done a few of them last night for you guys. So, kids, family, driving, walking, building a house, water flowing down a tap, a pipe, whatever, paint, tax, running a race. Write down 20. Now, you all should be in the same ballpark, if you think about it. If you're going to write down something that nobody else understands, then you're in the wrong place, because it's not relatable. So, you should all probably have 10 to maybe 12 on the same page. You all should have that. Very, very simple. Walking down the stairs, brushing your teeth, sitting on a chair, writing on a pen and paper, fucking grabbing a coffee, telling your girlfriend you love her, telling your boyfriend you hate him in the same message. Okay, after that, what I want you to do is write down the top objections you get. So the top 6, as you know, think about it: time, money, partner, fear, logistics. You all should probably have 1 or 2 other ones that are relatable to your offer, but they always come back to either one of those 6, as you know. Okay, who's got 20 or 15? One or the other. Hands up. Benny, what you got, buddy?
Got family, kids, walking, brushing teeth, relationships, money, driving, childhood, health, friendship, sitting, writing, coffee, toilet, relaxing, breathing, waking up, school.
Perfect. Just basically everything I just said, but anyway, perfect. Luke, what you got?
Similar things. I added like traveling in there. She mentioned school, working out, playing sport. Those are the 2 different ones. Everything else is similar.
Okay. Aaron, what you got?
Top of that, I have real estate, houses, mindset, sports, live events. That's it.
Okay. Anyone have anything fucking so far out left you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have wrote that? Dave Barton, come on buddy, you're laughing. What you got? No? Anyone like super stupid? Nikki, what you got?
I got meditating, eating, showering, sleeping, walking, driving a car, phoning people, making money, friendships, sports.
Okay, cool. So, top objections. Marcus, what we got?
Partner, think about it. Money value, money fear.
Okay, so what I'm going to get you guys to do, this person, common objection is, I just got to go and speak to my partner. How are you going to use an analogy, something that this person can understand, to allow that person to overcome their own partner objection? Everyone's like, what the fuck? So the objection is, I just got to go and speak to my partner. Use a hook, use an analogy that ultimately helps that person understand that they don't need to go and speak to their partner. How would you use that? I can give it to you, but what's the point? You got to learn this. So use a hook, use something that ultimately that person can relate to, that ultimately shows that they do not need to go and speak to their partner, and then we're going to be able to overcome the objection together. Yeah? So write it out. Write it out. Come on. Good stuff.
Can I ask at what point you use the analogy versus like the framework about getting embodied in the process first before you go through that? Like,
Yeah, good question. Firstly, you got to pierce the objection, which is the important part. You got to be able to make sure that what you do can actually get that person to where they want to go, like I taught you all to do. Then if you need to use an analogy, once it doesn't go through the first time, then you can pull it out. Or you can use it while you're going through the objections. Whatever objection you want to write it out, but use a hook and analogy and we'll go through it and we'll go through it. We'll build it up. So whatever objection you get, grab something which is a heading and then think about how you're going to overcome that objection by explaining what we've just gone through. Was anybody complicated on that? I'm looking at partner objection, building a house. What are you guys looking at? I just read down, I was like, okay, I could have went driving, I could have went kids, I could have went building a house. Who here has kids? And let's just break it down. Who here? Aaron has kids? When your kids cry, who do they go to?
My wife.
Yeah, okay, so there you go. There's a simple one, isn't it? How would you use that? mum knows best. But with all due respect, you go to your wife with this knowledge, education, and everything we've gone through. Her expertise is not necessarily in building a business, is it? It's ultimately being a mum and picking her kids up when they fall down, right? So with all due respect to your wife, with all due respect to you, and I'm never going to try and get between you both, you going through with all this education, knowledge, and thoughts that we've gone through, she's not necessarily the best person to go to with this issue. Based on her own expertise, her own knowledge, and what she is as a person. And you're going to come back and you're going to say, yeah, but I always ask my wife when I make these kind of decisions. But all I want to do is I want to shift what's the first objection. Because now I got more information. It's not necessarily I need to go to my wife because she's the person who's going to make the decision. Now it's a conversation of why does he need to go there. So now I've taken it from a partner, and now it's going to be based on what? It's going to be based on money. Let's go building a house. Partner objection. Okay, cool. Like when you go to your wife and you look at interior design, do you know interior design? The answer is going to be no, predominantly for most men. You didn't go to your wife when you wanted to put a roof on the house and say to her, do we do a pitch here, do we do a flat roof there? The biggest fear of when you put on things, guys, is that you feel that people don't get value. And that's always the biggest fear, no matter where you go, no matter who you are. I know all the great people and places and all that stuff, that's what they fear. So it's always good to get some sort of confirmation that things are good. So last thing I want to leave you with, guys, is just 10 things that I thought about over the last couple of years. 10 things that have kind of, helped, and ultimately 10 things I look at that have shaped where we are and where we're going. So the first thing for us is rejection. My biggest thing that I wanted to give you all today and yesterday was, I suppose, a perspective to understand that rejection is going to be part and parcel of your career. But I also wanted to be understood that it's part and parcel of your life too. Because without it you can't shape, and without it you can't grow, and without growing you're not going to achieve. So if all that you've took away out of the last 2 days is knowing how to handle rejection, then you'll be in a much better place, guys, over the next 3-6 months. Because the faster you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and the faster you get comfortable with someone looking at you dead in the eye and saying no, doesn't really matter. I sat with Nikki last night for dinner and we talked about life, and we deep conversations from time to time, and which is so valuable for me, with great people. And we look at our lives and we look at everything we've done and gone through in different parts and parcels of it. And there's a couple of things that we said about, like, we all have a story. We all have different things in our life. We all have struggles, and we all have things that have happened that we didn't want to happen. And that's just life. That's just normal. But one thing that was pretty fucking common across the board between us in different capacities, massive capacities, is the word rejection. Now, my rejection is no better than Nikki's, or Nikki's rejection is no better than mine, or Gabe's is no better than Jimmy's. It doesn't really matter, because it's all your own internal, and it's all your own internal story. But I would definitely hope, wish, and pray over the last few days that you got more comfortable with this. Because if you can go through frameworks in front of 25 people, let's be honest, 25 strangers that you don't really know, being on a call and someone says no to you, it's not really anything anymore, is it? So you get used to that one. Sales become very fucking easy. Second thing I think is really important for you guys, and just take a minute to read what that is. And I understand, Princess, you're not a guy, but just in theory, yes, nice girls don't turn into elite players either. That also doesn't mean that you have to become a prick. Someone said something to me yesterday. Josh, actually, who just left, I went to say goodbye to him. He said to me yesterday, he said, and I was laughing, he said, do you know what, Bill? Because he's very matter of fact, Josh is. He's very like, if he likes you, he likes you, and if he doesn't, you know. And he came to me and he said, do you know what? Do you know what? I always thought you were a prick. He said, I see all the fucking shit you do, and you're jumping down people's throats on the Zooms, and I met you today and you're not a prick. I was just laughing at him. I was like, oh, well, that makes me warm and fuzzy down there, so thank you. But it's important, guys, because when I am hard on people and I'm very matter of fact and I'm to the point, it's not because I don't care, and it's not because I'm being a prick. It's because I want you not to do something that's going to put you in pain. It's not because I want to make you feel shit or make you feel little or whatever people may perceive it to be. It's because I care so much about people that I ultimately don't want them to be in pain. So that's the important aspect for me. That ultimately means sometimes I'm not a nice guy, but I don't want to be a nice guy, nor do I want to be loved, but I demand respect for what I bring to the table. And whether you give me respect or you don't give me respect, That's up to you. But it doesn't change who I am. So I look at people that are really, really good, and I think elite players, like people that can go into any offer and fucking pretty much rock and roll, they have the tendency to go left and right. What I mean by that is they can be very, very open and they can be very, very nice, but they could also cut you in half with words. Because unfortunately, that's what it takes to go to the income that you want to make. And if that is not actually in you, which I know a lot of you guys aren't like that, and you really struggle with that, and you really struggle with asking the right questions, and it comes across a bit, I suppose, it comes across kind of forced. See how Benny asked the question and it just was completely weird? And I know that's just where you guys are at. Doesn't mean that you always got to ask and do hard things, but it also means that you don't become a nice guy just because you feel that's what the person needs or wants. You got to do what the person needs instead of wants. When someone says to you, I don't want to talk about that, you can either do one or two things. You can be the nice guy and say, or the nice girl and say, okay, cool, well, let's not talk about that. Or you can turn it around and you can say, it's great that you don't want to talk about it, but you ultimately still want the goal, right? I do. Okay, well, if you do want to go, well, unfortunately, then we are going to talk about it. Which is more important, the goal or you not talking about your shit? Because you can't have both. You can either have your goal or you can have the shit that you have buried. What do you want? Okay, so that's important, guys. Nice guys don't turn into elite players, in my opinion. You got to be selfish with it. You got to look after yourself in every capacity. Like what I've tried to give you guys yesterday was obviously how to build a business. The business of Bill Welch Inc. or Nicky Schroeder Inc. or James Hayes Inc. But also how do you become an elite player in terms of how your preparation is, your nutrition, your sleep, all of the things that you can control, which is really, really important. This is more about life, but it's also about how business works, in my opinion. June actually said something to me last night when we were sitting for a beer. He said, I remember when I came in, Bill, first into the objection box, and I didn't actually have the investment, and you actually helped me, and that's why I continue to still be here. That meant so much to me, because how you treat people forward, meaning face to face, will be how they talk about you behind their back. And it doesn't mean that I have to kiss ass, and it doesn't mean that I have to like play up to the audience, because you all know that I don't. But I will treat you with respect because I feel that, and I should have that, and I will do that. The worst thing you never want to be in this world, guys, and the worst thing that you ever want to have in sales, because it is a small, close-knit group, is I speak to James Hayes one way, and when James Hayes is not there, and I speak to Nick about James Hayes, when he's not there, and I speak differently. It goes around, unfortunately. In this tight space in terms of our high-ticket world, it's getting smaller and smaller at the top level. And you never know what you say will come back. I remember when I was getting slandered and pulled apart and all that kind of stuff, and I was in my corner fighting my corner, and next minute I had like all these great people fighting my corner. And it wasn't because I asked them to do it, it's because that's from that. Because I've always treated them with respect. Because when they see injustice, and they see people attacking you for something that you didn't may or not do, they'll always back you. That's how it works. That's not necessarily just in sales, that's life. But as you see, guys, with sales, a large amount of it is actually crossover into the world and life. This is important because it's truth, but it's sad truth, to be quite honest with you. Because at the end of the day, guys, sales is not going to be it for all of you. Maybe I'm a prick for saying that, but maybe I actually give you what you need. Some of you in this room won't actually make it. Maybe you're a marketer. Maybe you're a fulfillment agent. Maybe you're, I don't know, a bin lorry driver. I don't know. But what I will say to you is don't force it if you don't feel it. Like if you don't like these conversations, you don't like being in these rooms, you do not like this whole process, take out the money, guys, because the money is a direct correlation of you being very good at what you do. If you actually don't like the thing, all the money in the world is not going to make you like the thing. It just won't. Because you'll make a lot of money, but you'll be miserable as fuck. Who here is miserable as fuck in doing things that they probably don't want to do? Who here actually doesn't want to be in sales, but does it because like it's a good vehicle at this moment in time? Benny is. Benny's a singer. I can point him out a million miles away. This is not Benny's calling, but it's his vehicle to go to it. Okay, so basically what the objection is, I want to pay in full. This is what you guys will hear. I want to pay in full. Can you just give me a day or two to work out the logistics and then we'll get it all rocking and rolling? Hands up here against that objection. Do you know what that is? It's not an objection. How would I smoke that out? Someone tell me. Right, Kishan?
You can just be like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. I can order the pay full price tomorrow, and we'll just take like half today or whatever you have today and get you moved forward with sunset price.
What's going to happen then? One of two things.
They're either going to do it or they're going to say like, oh, I like to do things that
Yeah, I just like to do everything. I just like to pay everything off all at once.
Take away the objection.
Hook, straight away. Yeah, cool. Do you own a house?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or you could be like, hey, do you own a phone? Yeah. Did you buy your phone outright, or do you like buy all your data and everything, or do you like pay a monthly subscription?
No, it's monthly.
Okay, so now it's gone into a monthly. Yeah?
It wasn't. I didn't even say it was the pay in full thing. It's more like I don't have the money. I need to go borrow the money, find it from someone else, but I want to do it because it happened to me last week. So I was like, hey, I want to do it. I just literally can't right now. I got to go talk to my buddy who might invest in my business one day.
Okay, so that's more of, I don't actually have the
I
money.
want to do it. It's like I just don't have the money right now, but I hope I might be able to have it in the next few days. But I want
Okay.
to do this 100%.
Yeah, okay, so when you go through your down payment structure, what happens then?
I mean, usually I just ask, okay, cool. Well, what I can do is take down a small deposit right now to lock in your spot for this program.
Okay, NO. Okay, so yeah, easy peasy. Yeah, you can definitely go away and do that, which is perfectly fine. What we do with, our students who are in the same position that you are, which is perfectly fine, we do it every day, is we do put down a small down payment, hence the word not deposit. We do put down a small down payment, and then we're not going to say to lock in your spot. We're not going to do that. We're going to say, yeah, we do put down a down payment, and what I will do actually over the next couple of days with you, Luke, Paul, Jack, William, is I'll work with you just in case that actually falls through with your friend, because we got other options that you can utilize that can actually get you started so you can go and achieve X, Y, and Z. Happy enough? Now in terms of down payments, look, it's completely up to you. We got two options. Either you can do 250 or 500. What would probably make more sense to you?
Honestly, my credit card just got billed. I can do like $100.
Okay, cool. Let's do $100. Why do I need to overcomplicate it? Why do I need to slap that person around? Why do I need? He didn't say no. He said I can do 100. Okay, cool. Fight on another day. That's it. Go for it.
If he said, yeah, I'm just playing this out of my mind in case of what I've had with calls, like if they're like, oh, 250 is a bit of a stretch, then what do I say? Like,
Well, if 250 is a bit of a stretch, buddy, I don't know how you're going to make 6K.
I mean, 250 is a bit of a stretch right now.
Okay. Well, what can you do? Because it's completely up to you, and I'll just go away and figure that out with the boss.
Okay, and then you'll get the amount like 50 or something.
I can do 4 cent. Okay, great, 4 cent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just to clarify, you're really just saying this is our process.
Yeah.
To help you work through it.
Yeah.
And then if they don't want to do that, then there's another objection.
Correct. Yeah. Because if they don't do that, even though I've made it make sense, then there's something else that ultimately doesn't make sense.
They're not getting access or anything. You're just
No.
making that commitment to them and go and get it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Perfect. Right, Kenny?
So I noticed like a lot of times when I take down payments, and
Yeah.
like a lot of people ask this, like I have a lot of down payments, they're kind of like floating in about, and
Yeah.
then come back.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, because now if we're offering binary options with a down payment, most often than not, people are going to choose the lower
Yeah.
option, right?
Yeah.
So like, and I know the solution to that you said is like always push more, right, for the down payments.
Yeah.
Enough pain for them to come back. So would you recommend to give the binary option then,
Yeah.
or no? Because like I want to push for more because I have a lot of people who are just kind of.
Well, what you do then is your low becomes your high and your high becomes your low. You're like, what the fuck does that mean? Well, your low becomes 500 and your high becomes 750, which makes more sense to you to do the 500 or the 750.
Okay.
Just move the dial.
Okay, so still
Yeah.
binary, just move it up. Okay.
And then they say to you, oh, I don't want to do 500, that's a stretch. And you're like, hold on a second, then there's something behind that, aren't they? Because how are you going to fucking pull 6 through if you can't put 5 in? Yeah? Benny?
So would you do that binary and then they're still pushing back to the emotional commitment to themselves after? Or would you just play it by
Meaning which now? So if they don't want to move forward with the 500.
What I'm doing at the moment is just go straight into that process to set the first part of the accounts, the emotional commitment, not just to us, but to yourself. You can actually do something to move forward. You're being congruent with speech and actions, taking a step away from this call. Actually, no, this is something which we can get to.
Yeah.
That's usually the real I take, which works, but if you're saying now, potentially you use the binary option, or typically with either $1,000 or 500, doesn't make any difference to me, but allows you to set the first part of your account.
Yeah.
How would you go about knowing which route to go?
Firstly, what I would do, guys, is I wouldn't overcome objections if I don't see them. Very much like what June did. And you could feel that in the room when June was overcoming a fear objection and Gianni was like, what the fuck is going on? So what you did first was basically that person in theory saying, I'm still a little bit scared of myself, rather than the logistics. Go to logistics, and then if the logistics don't work out, then guess what you got? What you don't want to do is go to the fear and then come back to logistics. Because it just burns the relationship like it did with June. It's perfect that you did that, June, because you basically were talking for the next 2 days based on you. So what happened was he tried to overcome something that wasn't there. And you could all feel the energy in the conversation just was out of sync. That's what will happen if you do that. Like if they're presenting an objection, which is logistics, make the logistics make sense. And if they still come back with an objection, guess what it wasn't? Logistics. Yeah?
So with the analogies,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking, go away, write down all of the objections you could get, and then write like 3 different analogies that you can do, and then study those. Would you suggest that? Or
Yeah. Yeah, people always say to me, how many ways can you loop it? Think about it. Or how many ways can you loop a partner? I'm like, how many ways do I need to loop it? I need to loop it once. Why? Because I'm never going to speak to that person ever again about a partner objection. You should all have 6 analogies, 6 hooks, 6 ways of overcoming one thing. Or one way of overcoming 6 things. Because everything after that is just complicated. And you're mixing and matching objections and frames and hooks and shit. And it just gets complicated and you don't know whether you're doing this or doing that one or the other one. You're like halfway up the ladder, halfway across the river, and then you end up in a restaurant in a river. But that's what happens. That's what happens though, because what's happening is you're under pressure, you're completely in a battle, and it's like fucking trying to score a hat-trick in the 98th minute. It's hard.
Well, the question out of that then is, because you want to make it relatable to the person, right, on the call,
Yeah.
based on what they've told you.
Yeah.
So if you've written down a bunch of different analogies for it, then you could obviously pick and have more exposure to trying different ones. So that way when you're on the call, it's less improv, it's more, like I've done this like 3 times on
Correct.
objections, so then you have
Yeah.
understanding of it, a better framework, so you'll be more confident and actually tackling
Exactly.
it based on what they did. Like,
Yeah. Because the other, like, what are you confident in other than sales? Time of sadness. Fighting, yeah. Why are you confident in fighting?
I fucking win every time.
Okay, right. Shit. Yeah, but like you do that, you know, and you're confident in it because you know how to duck and you know how to punch and you know how to kick and headbutt and all that great stuff that you do. Yeah, because you've done it and you built up an education on it, you know. So what I would say to you guys is don't overcomplicate it. You want to take all the complication out of the end of the call, because if you don't, you'll end up like in a fucking shit show and you won't make sales.
Oh yeah, I had a question.
Go for it.
How would you overcome a due diligence? Like, oh, everything sounds good, like I'm ready to move forward, I need to do my due diligence on the company, just heard about you guys. How would you set a hook, or just how would you kind of go about it?
Okay, cool. When you say due diligence, can I ask what do you mean by that specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I clicked on a Facebook ad, I went through everything, read about you guys, but I just want to do a little bit more research just to make sure that this is legit.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think it's not legit?
No, I don't think it's not legit.
Okay, what do you think then?
You know, just with crypto and a lot of these things,
Okay.
there's a lot of scams and whatnot.
I can imagine, yeah. Do you feel with what we've gone through today, if you just took that education and just ran with it, that it can get you to where you want to go, or how do you feel?
Yeah, I think
Take the kind of scam ideology out of your head and crypto and X, Y, and Z. If I just told you everything that I told you today and you put that into action, do you think you can get to where you want to go, or like, what do you think? Why do you feel that? From just the education I've shared with you today.
Well, I think, based off of everything that you said, if it's all true, if it's all there, then really I kind of have everything I need to succeed.
Well, you don't have everything you need, and I can challenge you if I may. What you don't have is a decision. Now, where does the decision come from? Now, where are we gone? We're not gone due diligence. Where are we gone now? Fear. Yeah? So you got to go through it and you got to figure out what the hell is going on, and you got to make it relatable to what you've shared. I took out all the complexities. I took out crypto and blah and blah and blah, and I made it based on what you and I already know, which is what I've just shared. Yeah? Make sense?